Hi. So right now I am on my rug and so this is just like the best angle I could get. All right, let's just like talk about my renovation nightmare. So we bought the home, this condo, on April 7th. And so we signed everything and we were thinking, okay, that gives us enough time because our lease ends April 30th. So that way we have about 3 weeks to find a contractor who can knock down the wall, open up the space, and then we can move in and everything will be fine. So we initially had like looked through Yelp and then we saw this one guy and he seemed fine and he said that he could fix everything, all the cracks in the walls, like things like that. And so we were like, okay, and then we waited for his estimate. And his estimate came back and it was $12,000, almost $13,000. And I was like, ouch, because we initially got some credit, but it's nothing close to $12,000. It wouldn't even cover like a third of it. We're like, okay, there has to be like someone cheaper. So then we started looking around more, and on Yelp you can actually post something saying like, help, I need someone like immediately. We actually had lots of people responding. We decided to just like pick a couple of them, and so lots of them would like send us calls and texts, but then some people would like blow us off eventually and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be 2 hours late, 3 hours late, and we just block them because they're not gonna finish in time probably. And one guy, he was really punctual, so we're like, okay, cool. And he looked around and said, okay, we can fix all this. And I was like, okay, like that works for me. His estimate came via email and it was like $6,000, which was half of what the first guy said. He starts immediately. On the first day, he knocks down the wall. And I was like pretty happy about that because that was like our main concern. But then I wasn't too sure about the other stuff. So our building has policies such as like what times you can work on your home. So Sundays you can't work. And so he would ask, can we work on it on Saturday? And we were like, yeah, Saturday, it's like from this time to this time. It's just Sundays when you can't work. And so he was like, cool. So we checked on it before the weekend, so Friday and then Sunday. And on Sunday, nothing changed. He didn't work on it on Saturday like he claimed. And then that's when I was like, okay, what if this is like him fixing the wall? Because that's when I got really scared. He didn't really open up the wall, the drywall, and then like push in the putty. All he did was put some compound on it and call it a day and maybe sand it down. And I was like, ooh, like that's not really what I wanted. So you can still see the cracks even now. There was a lot of debris. We ordered steak to eat there because we were like, oh, like let's just like have a first meal there. And it turns out that half of the whole package was just ice, which is really stupid. So I was just carrying ice to dump. So we're there just like, okay, like taking it all in. And so there were some problems that we had. But at least the wall was down, which was like our main concern. He sends us an email saying, hey, we have a problem with the flooring. I can't find a match. And that's when I'm like, oh God. Like, I don't know anything about floors. I contact the manager just to ask, do you know what kind of floors we have? Because this was done in like 2004, so it's been a while. And so he thankfully knew what kind of floors we had because the seller had no idea. So we contacted the actual companies that made the flooring, and they were super nice. And they got back to me the next day saying, hey, your ash floors are no longer, they're discontinued. And I was just like, of course they're discontinued. And so we were looking around and we're just like, okay, you know what? We can like send some designs, like we could work this out. We could have some weird diagonal thing going on. We could like separate it into like a weird flooring for just like the bedroom area, and then have like a frame. So because it's actually really hard to transition your hardwood flooring with another color. Like it just looks ugly. We finally agreed on one design, which was the whole like the bedroom one where we would have a border, like a light colored border within a darker colored border, and then the inside would be dark color. And then he gave us an adjusted estimate of $6,000 just for the floors. And this was like a really small 6x6 area. And I was like, hell no. Like, This was when he had already finished the job. There were a lot of problems. The lights stopped working. The cracks, they really did not like fix the cracks. The wall came down, but then whatever they did, it was just like, eh. With the quote of $6,000, it would not have been done until May 15th, and we move in on April 30th, and I was just like, no, like I'm not playing this game anymore. And so we were done. He also wanted to buy 9 boxes for a 6x6 area. Like, that doesn't make sense. Because one box is already like 6 feet long. So you really need only like 3 boxes max. So I don't know. And then he would charge us on top of that for like random crap. So in the end, I was like, I am not going to have mediocre flooring on top of, you know, the cracks and all this other crap that's going on. Like, even the paint, there were like, the bottom area wasn't painted. There were parts that were uneven and I couldn't. So I was just like, no, there has to be another solution. And so we posted another like help request on Yelp. And unfortunately, we only had maybe like a week left. And this was still during the pandemic, which we are still in. Anyway, one guy responds and he has like amazing reviews. So of course I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, this guy, I don't even care as long as I have a floor. Because right now we have a hole, like not working lights, and it's just like dust everywhere. At least the debris is gone, because there was a lot of debris, like a lot. And so the guy visits and he's like, okay, yeah, we can do this. And then we run into the problem of the floorboards again, because he says, yeah, I can do the floorboards. And we were trying to find something similar. So this time he was going to stain the whole thing so it's all uniform, which is amazing. So then I contact the manufacturers again. And I'm like, okay, could you give something like visually similar? Like, what could we do to replace it? And then they gave me a whole bunch of like listings of like, okay, so this one's like visually similar, but then the thickness is different. And in this condo, they require you to put soundproofing underneath the flooring. I was just like, well, maybe we could put more soundproofing. Like, maybe, just maybe, the height would be the same. We go back to the flooring guys, and then he's like, okay. He does an estimate. He's like, oh, okay, I can work with this. We give him what the manufacturers advised us, and he's like, okay, we can make it uniform. And he orders, I think, 2 boxes. After seeing the floorboards, he buys the boxes, brings it over. On the first day, he's going to lay it all down, fix like whatever sandy crap is underneath, and then lay it over and just like make sure it fits. And then on the second day, they're going to sand the whole place down and then stain it. And then on the third day, they're going to apply like a nice conditioning coat or something like that. On the first day, we get a text saying, hey, can you come over and look? And we're like, yeah, we live like 2.5 miles away and we are working from home. That's not really feasible at this point. And so he was like, okay, I'll just send you a picture. And the floorboard structuring has changed. So it's a little bit smaller. The tongue and groove thing doesn't really fit exactly. And I was like, oh my God, of course they would also change, you know, the design of the floorboard. Like, what else haven't they changed? So he was saying, I'll get back to you guys. Like, don't worry. I'll talk to my restoration guys, see if they could maybe fill in the gap, and then it would work out maybe. And then, you know, we could still stain it. And he came back and said, yep, we can still do that. And I was like, thank you. To be honest, at this point, I was just like, dude, I just need that hole filled. It doesn't even have to be too even. It's just like a floor. I just have to be able to walk on it and it won't like come with my heels or something. On the second day, he sent photos and oh my God, my expectations were exceeded. Like, you can tell that like the color is a little bit off because I mean there were 2 different colored floorboards, but you really couldn't see any gaps, and I was like extremely happy with that already. And on the same day, they stained the floors and it looked amazing. Like, you really couldn't tell. So we picked this stain and it's supposed to hide most of the flaws according to him. So there were already like some scratches and stuff, but because they like resanded everything, those like came off with it. I was like really happy about that. And then we moved in on the 30th, and the smell was overwhelming. But dude, I had a floor. Charles, like that was the name of the guy we worked with. He is amazing. He's like a floor god. First things first, we have to get our bed set up, Wi-Fi because we're working from home tomorrow, and then like the shower curtains. So we figured that all out, and the only problem was that there was like still the fumes or like the smell, and then there was like dust everywhere because we really gave them a really tight timeline, so they couldn't vacuum everything off of like the cabinets. So the cabinets had a lot of like wood dust. I could feel it in my lungs a little. Like that's why you're supposed to wear a mask when you're standing down the floors. Well, I was just like so happy with the floors already that I was like, I don't care, I have a home. And the whale woke up and he kind of had some irritation and like a dry throat in the morning, and a headache from the fumes. So I mean, we like just opened the balcony door and the windows for a couple days, and well, now we're fume free. And we have like amazing looking floors. Like you really can't tell unless you're like really searching for it. There is like a slight line, but other than that, I'm super happy. Our lights still do not work, so we are ordering motion sensor lights. So thank you for listening to my story. I'll leave Charles's info in the description if anyone's like in the Chicago area and interested in new flooring. Yeah, and we actually left a really bad review for the first guy. The first guy sent a cease and desist letter, and I was just like, bro, this is a slap suit. We are entitled to our own opinions. And thankfully, Illinois has some really good laws against slap suits. So we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. So yeah, thank you again, and I'll see you soon. Bye.